Right, so it's the iconic Wankhede which is going to host the second semi-final of the T20 World Cup 2026. India and England will be seen in it. Let's go across to Rika and Atul now, who are joining me on the broadcast. And Rika, to you first. And it's very interesting what Harry Brooks said, that you don't need to have perfect match to reach the semi-finals stage of a World Cup. It is, safe to say that both the rivals who will be seen on the field tonight have had a bit of an imperfect, campaign really in this T20 World Cup, and they once again see each other in the semi-finals, third time in a row.
That's right. Both India and England have had wobbles. India, of course, was beaten by South Africa, who got beaten by the Black Caps, New Zealand, last night. So they are knocked out. A lot of the Indian cricketers, I can promise you that they are heaving a sigh of relief that South Africa is knocked out of this tournament, because they are one team that look like playing complete cricket. So far as England is concerned, a patchy campaign. They have been embarrassed by Nepal. They have been embarrassed by Italy, 2 minnows, but they have somehow managed their campaign courtesy characters in the side. And one of the characters I have been following through that campaign, who looks a bit like, I won't say looks, but has that Eminem style buzz cut, that colored hair, Will Jacks. He calls himself a spare bowler and a spare batter, picked up 4 man of the matches. And, that really has been the bedrock of India's campaign, and they have reached so far.
Right.
England's captain, I mean.
England captain, right. So before we go across to Atul, take a look at the graphics, which I'm going to quickly show to our viewers as well. When we talk about the T20 World Cups and India versus England, we've had a total of 5 matches, and India has won 3 out of them. England has managed to win 2. So it's pretty even, pretty fair between the two countries. But what this also suggests is that in the T20 World Cups, it's almost become certain now, Atul, that in the group stages, there will be one India versus Pakistan, and in the semi-finals, there will be one India versus England. Would you look at it like that? They have been very consistent in meeting each other in the semi-finals.
Well, I'm not a big fan of these statistics. You know that already. What has happened in the past, what has transpired is water under the bridge. It could be 5-0 also. And I would still say that, on a given day, whoever goes hard, punches harder. It's like, when you play Muhammad Ali or box against Mike Tyson, you are going to lose in 12 rounds. But if you go hard in the first round and you never know, you land a few punches, anything can happen. This is T20. So I think both the teams, you've said everything. Rika has got us the timeline, what has happened. So
fair enough, Atul, but who's starting as your favorite team for the semi-final?
Well, my favorite team is India, basically. But I'm just wary that, Phil Salt and Josh Taylor are due. And I think that is a worry. But so are a couple of our boys are also due. Yes. And I think especially Varun Chakravarti. But, having said that, I must say for a very long time, I've never said this, but England seems to have a better spin attack, Will Jacks, Dawson, Abdul Rashid, they are formidable. But Wankhede pitch, Wankhede has given us very bad taste in the mouth. I remember India, West Indies, it's going to be a high scoring game. It's a smaller ground. The atmosphere is there. It gets a bit skiddy. So the ball goes a lot further. So I think it's going to be a battle of our big hits, our big guns, and Will Jacks has been phenomenal. Have you ever heard
Interesting answer there, Atul. You're trying to keep it very balanced. You are saying that India start as favourites, but then at the same time, we also have to remember the strengths that the English team have displayed in the tournament so far. I also want to quickly bring in Boria Majumdar here, consulting editor sports for NDTV 24/7. And Boria, my question to you is also going to be on similar lines. Both the teams have had their fair share of ups and downs in the tournament so far. We've seen on their way to the semi-finals. For you, which one would be the favourites heading into this encounter?
Yeah, both teams have indeed had their share of ups and downs, and that's what is expected in a World Cup. Now think about South Africa. South Africa did not have any down. They were only on the up and up and up. And what happened in the semi-final? They missed out on one game, one relatively bad game, because the batting did not click. At the Eden Gardens, you get to 200, you're in business. That did not happen, and New Zealand chased it down easily. So that's what happens in a tournament like this if you don't have a downer. It's always good to have one hiccup. England, again, in that sense, have not had that kind of a hiccup really in the Super 8 stage. India wouldn't mind this. India wouldn't mind this at all going into the competition, going into this semi-final. That one match against South Africa was a bit of an aberration. I think India is well and truly ready, and I have absolutely no problems in saying that one defeat against South Africa could have just been what India needed to know that they cannot afford any further slip-ups.
Yes, I think, Atul, that's a very good way of looking at things, because, you know, if you've had a match like the one we had against South Africa, which really showed us the mirror and, you know, forced us to look at things in the perspective that when you see a difficult rival, you have to prepare equally well. You think that sort of, that one match that we faced in the Super 8 stages has prepared us better for the semi-finals here?
Yes, it has not prepared better, but just got the jinx out of the way. You know, because if you keep on winning, then you falter at the crucial time. You know, but you can't say that. You know, not when you say that you have seen not the mirror. That means that mirror tells you the true picture. The loss from South Africa was not our true picture. We are better than that. So I think Boria is right that we were due one bad game, and thank God that bad game happened. And now, after that, if you see, the performance has been superb, especially last performance, very commanding. It was not easy, but we found a guy. Whenever we have looked for somebody to step up to the plate, we've got a player. And I think it's going to be exciting. You know, Sanju Samson versus Jofra Archer is going to be a battle. That's going to be the high point for me. And I think then Joss Butler against Bumrah.
Well, Rika, what's the energy that you are picking up from the Indian dressing room ahead of this big clash in the semi-finals? We also know that the Indian team refused to even practice at a time when the effects of lunar eclipse were on. So I think they are leaving no chance now, no bad luck, no bad omen. Nothing should affect them.
Yeah, you know, this is the first time in a tournament when I have experienced that a team refusing to practice because of, eclipses. And so 2 days before the match, there was a lunar eclipse and the team was to practice from 6 p.m. But since the eclipse went on till 6:47, they came out around 6:49. They came to the stadium past 7 o'clock, and then they practiced till about 10:30. In each of the venues that they have been to, either the coach Gautam Gambhir or the players have been seen going to temples. So clearly, they are not just trying to get themselves be their best versions as cricketers, but also seeking divine intervention on the course of this, World Cup campaign. There have been other captains, other coaches who have had their own superstitions, have been, deeply religious. But I feel that this group of, Gen Z crowd led by Gautam Gambhir is a little different. They are differently wired.
Well, they are differently wired, but they still believe in those superstitions, which could be attached with this big clash, because at the end of the day, this is going to be one last hurdle before you reach the finals and try to defend your crown. I'm going to go across to Boria Majumdar once again. And Boria, we were talking about how India have perhaps regrouped better after that loss to South Africa in the Super 8 stages. But going by the same logic, England have also had a few close games in the T20 World Cup this year. Do you think they are tonight going to be in a better position to handle pressure, especially in front of a very, very big home crowd support that India will get?
See, there is no cricket team in the world that faces more pressure than India. If you say England has had close matchups, which is why they are in a better position to handle pressure, let me tell you this, against the West Indies, India 99 for 3 on the verge of getting out of the World Cup. If that is not pressure, then I don't know what pressure is. You were on the verge of getting eliminated with 68,000 people in the stands, with 1 billion people watching. England will never face that kind of pressure in Test match cricket. Their favoured format, rather in T20 cricket, their favoured format is Test cricket. For India, this is the favoured format now. So the kind of pressure that India has faced or will face or have faced every single day is unmatched. So I absolutely don't think England is in a better position to deal with pressure than India. That's not the case.
Okay, so that's taken care of. Now, Atul, okay, Rika, quickly, if you want to add to that, yeah.
I just wanted to add one thing to it. And, the Indian team management is making every attempt or trying all ways to keep the players away from pressure. During the press conferences in the last few days, I think this is the only tournament we have covered where you have had maximum appearances of the batting coach, the bowling coach.
Yeah, we've also noticed that, Rika. I think that seems to be some sort of strategy to keep the players away from that sort of pressure and get them not to face difficult questions from media. But Atul, now the elephant in the room, let's address that. And as I play India playing 11 also in graphics, what we are expecting tonight, do we have an Abhishek Sharma problem? And at this stage, are we going to make any changes?
No way. I mean, India has shown and clearly proved that they are going to walk the talk, and they have made a strategy. They're going to stick to it, and that shows that you are a mature team. If you keep on having these knee-jerk reactions, that shows that you are not deserving champions. And I think you were saying pressure. I think is the pleasure of the pressure that you must have, because without pressure, you will never perform. And I think this pressure, when you perform and go through it, brings you the most pleasure. So I think India has got superstitions because they have got beliefs. And I think India has got the belief in Abhishek. They have planned this. They have made a strategy. The belief. They're not taking a step back.
Right. It's always a pleasure, in fact, Atul, to have you with us on the show. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thank you, Rika and Boria, as well.